Oh, I messed it up. Now the other overlay's gone. Now it's back.
Oh, we're back. We're live. We're going all right. This
Hello.
is good.
Hello.
Hello.
And welcome back.
Hello.
Welcome back to
Oh,
Countdown to Scream 2022, everyone. We've been waiting for this.
this is quite a moment. This is the day we've been waiting for. This is the most exciting day until January 14, I think.
Okay. I'll say the second trailer, because there's bound to be another one, is probably going to be equally as exciting.
Let's
Actually, all
hope
right,
it
no,
doesn't
not
give us much
equally.
away.
Okay, so
Shots
we
fired. No.
we should get into that. All right. So first, before we start going through this thing frame by frame, what did you think of the trailer overall?
I mean, I'm buzzed. I'm excited. I think, like you, I woke up, I was waiting for it. And I think it really delivered, like, in terms of just getting me hyped for the movie, giving me a little bit about the film, probably misdirecting me in 35 different ways, but giving me a sense of what they're trying to do. Um, I thought it was good. I thought it was effective. The expectations are so high, I think, for people like us who are so invested in this franchise, and can remember, I think, the excitement of the trailers for Scream 2, 3, and 4. And I think this sort of lived up to it. I will have quibbles and all that kind of stuff, but mostly I'm a fanboy this morning who's watched it like 7 times and wants to get off this live so I can watch it again.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think I feel the same way. It definitely got me very hyped. I got up
Hmm.
ridiculously early for this morning, and it was well worth it.
Yeah.
But there's certain things about it that are giving me pause, because maybe I think there are moments that show a little too much, and I'm wondering if
Hmm.
I figured certain things out. But then on the other hand, I'm pretty confident that they wouldn't give things away in a trailer, or know to be too heavy-handed with certain things in a trailer, when there are so many people out there like us who know every little detail, know the format of these movies. So basically, I'm just at a point where I'm thinking any assumption that I'm making right now is probably going to be wrong anyway.
I think that is 100% true. And knowing how secretive they've been about this film all along, up to this point, it would be surprising if what we're seeing and assuming is actually what ultimately happens. I think about that opening scene of the trailer with Jenna Ortega.
Yes.
And I mean, we'll get to it, but I guess I'm not even convinced that's the opening scene of the movie. I'm not even convinced she dies, kind of thing.
All right. Well, let's just get into that. So I have a copy of the trailer here, and I'm playing it. I'm playing it down a little. I'm trying to keep the sound a little low. But this whole thing is the Jenna Ortega opening, and
Yes.
I mean, to me, this reads a whole lot like the opening of the movie. But you think it's a misdirect?
Well, I mean, there's two ways of thinking about it, really. It's either everyone knows this is already going to happen. So, like, we're going to have this moment, so we can just show it, and who cares? Let's get it out of the way. But I do think it could be a misdirect for a couple of reasons. A, there's no major celebrity and I feel as though, I mean, okay, I love Jenna Ortega. But,
She's very talented, and she's
she's
very popular.
extraordinarily talented, but she's not Anna Paquin. She's not Jada Pinkett Smith at this point. I mean, in terms of name recognition, and I feel like they've only really
But she
done.
could be.
She could be by that stage. Maybe she got a single coming out, but no, I think so. I'm surprised they would show it. It definitely reads like the opening scene, but I feel like that could be the ultimate misdirect.
Okay. So I'm
What are
thinking
you thinking?
I'm thinking something similar. It's like, my surface level brain is watching this and is saying, yeah, this is the opening. It's a done deal. This is the opening
Hmm.
bill. But then like that would just be stupid to reveal that in a trailer. And I don't think they would do it. So I am leaning towards this being a misdirect. And I don't know, in theorizing how it could be a misdirect, one of the things that popped into my mind is, given that we're in a franchise that's made a movie about these killings, maybe that's what we're seeing right now, a scene from a movie
From
within a
Stab.
movie.
That is possible. Although I think isn't Ortega playing uh, Barrera's sister, or that was an assumption. We don't know that 100% for sure, right?
I don't think so. Now I want to bring up the EW article with the images, but I read through it. I didn't think it said anything
I,
of weight
the the other thing that makes me think it's
character-wise.
potentially not a misdirect, and I'm getting quite casual. I'm just going to have my coffee as we chat, if that's okay.
Please do. I'm jealous.
Yeah, sorry, it's 6 something where Perry is and 9 something where I am, but I think I still feel more tired. Thank you, booze. Is that we don't see Jenna in any other scenes in the trailer, although that's obviously clever cutting. Oh, Devontae, yes, I thought they were sisters as well, so that could be the triggering incident. But then also, you don't see like Samantha Carpenter, right, which is the Barrera character,
Yeah.
looking particularly grieved throughout. So I don't know. Is it a stab film? I also think they're just going to have a bigger name die in the beginning. I feel like you've got to deliver that for, and I think it's someone we don't know that's in the cast.
Yeah, there were I'm just scrolling through that EW article again. I don't see anything about the specifics regarding, who everyone is actually playing.
Well, they didn't say anything in the EW. If anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, there was an article published yesterday on EW in EW that sort of is a exclusive of the images that have now been released more widely, but also sort of speaks to the filmmakers and cast about the film
I
and
just
kind of
dropped it
says
in the live
nothing.
chat if
Okay,
anyone wants to check it out too.
it's a good piece, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's the opening scene, but we'll see.
So another theory that I was thinking, and it only popped in my mind when you said maybe she just doesn't die at all, is, we've almost always had pairs of killers. Maybe one
Mm,
killer is more closely affiliated with the original film, and maybe something happens here where Jenna Ortega's character becomes the partner of sorts.
potentially. I
That
also think there's a lot of hospital in this trailer, and in the photos we saw yesterday, at least one hospital shot, right? Oh, JJ's confident. Um, but what if wouldn't it be interesting to have an opening scene in which someone actually survives and potentially is hospitalized through the film? Is an interest. Well, I don't know. I don't know if that worked for Halloween Kills, but
that would be an interesting spin. As
mm,
much as I love the Scream formula and I want this movie to respect things that came before it, I know we need new, fresh things, and that'd be a pretty bold swing if this was
mm.
indeed the opening set piece and it was not an opening kill.
Yeah, and I mean, look, as an opening set piece, it looks intriguing. It's hard to get a sense of how thrilling and scary it is because it's cut like a trailer so very quickly. But I was intrigued. If it is the opening scene, sign me up. It looks fine.
Before we get past the opening scene thing, I'm curious to know what you think about the door locks, because we have been talking about how they'll use more modern technology in this new
Mm.
movie. So and this is kind of our first taste of it. So do you think that is an effective way to create a scare in this movie, but also something that doesn't run the risk of feeling dated, 5-10 years down the road?
Um, well, it is interesting because I mean, I actually am with it there. I was like, you're going to have smart homes. It's going to, you can't really avoid it. If I was the screenwriter, I would pull out that bag of tricks too. Um, I thought it was effective. And I think it's a nice homage to the Casey Becker, what
Mhm.
dorm, which dorm I at kind of thing. No, I felt it played, at least in the trailer, relatively well. I don't know if it'll date quite so badly as some of the Scream 3 technologies. But yeah, no, I didn't. What did you think about that? Do you think it's going to be dated?
That always concerns me. Every
Mm,
single time I watch an older horror movie that plays with something along those lines, whether it was technology based or just something pop culture related, it happens and it's unavoidable. My biggest thing when I was watching this particular moment play out was, is this technology being used in a way that ups the suspense of the moment? And
yes.
I think it was. I think
Yeah.
I obviously can't feel it quite the same way that I hope I will when I watch it in the context of the full film, but in this teeny tiny trailer, I found it to be pretty effective. And I found her performance to be
Oh,
incredibly effective. You guys already know how much I love her, and I think the world of her, and I think she's one of the most talented actors of her generation. But this is a little display of that, and it's something else.
So I'll say two quick things. Sometimes the dated technology actually has a charm to me when I'm watching old films. Like if you watch Black Christmas and the tracing of the call and sort of how they trace the call to being inside the house, and you have this extraordinarily old system of phone
Yes.
changes tracking. And then also, yes, I wanted to say that the thing I loved about this, and this makes me sound like a cruel man, was that when you think about the opening of Scream 4, where it was all played for laughs and there was no like seriousness, there was no feeling of like consequences. Although Tegan, Tiergarden, what's her name? Ashley Tiergarden,
Tea Garden.
Amy Tiergarden was good. This felt real, and this felt like
Yeah.
Jenna was actually experiencing something terrible. And also, there are indications later in the thing that I saw in this as well that Ghostface feels like he's going to be quite brutal
Yeah.
in this. It's a different kind of Ghostface.
This trailer felt like they were leaning harder into the scares more so than they were the meta comedy of it all. And
Yes.
there's a couple of one-liners that I'm already going to start repeating in here, but
Hmm.
even those kinds of more memorable quotes from this trailer, they're not super playful, and I think that that's true in the actual text of them and also the delivery. Like I'm
Yeah.
feeling the weight of everything so
De-
far.
Dewey has become sort of
Oh
serious elder statesman.
I
He's like,
know. He looks like he's
um,
having a tough time too.
I know. I'm like, what trailer is he living in?
I know.
Um,
I'm
yeah,
busy
but we should
like
probably. What are we?
analyzing the
Where are we at
background.
with this?
All right, so if we scroll past the Jenna Ortega opening or whatever we want to call it, I mean it's the
Mm,
opening of the trailer. I could say that for now.
yes,
Then we hit the shot of Sydney on a run.
I have a
And
weird deep cut theory about this. I feel
okay,
like she's on the lake or the river in Washington, because I feel like that's where people in their late 40s run in movies, and
okay.
therefore I'm like, has she become a lobbyist for victims' rights or something like this? Because she went from sort of professional memoirist victim in 4, and I'm like, maybe she's gone like full advocate, and that's where we find her in this movie. That is quite a deep theory of mine based on the background of a lake that doesn't even have the Washington Monument in it. That's my deep read.
All right, I'm playing a little of this conversation right now. So we're all right now. I'm all my time goes all off. Here we go. Oh, I'm scrolling. That's the problem.
What's happening? 3 attacks so far. Do you have a gun?
I'm Sydney Prescott. Of course, I have a gun.
Oh, there's a good line.
Such a good line.
Prescott, of course, I have a gun, and also her delivery and the history of the character just it
Yes,
very much supports a line like that. Going back, I'm like trying to look for details in Dewey's trailer, and I'm not seeing any except for the fact that it looks a mess.
it does look a mess. I'm
Dude,
like,
clean
and
this
he's
up.
Gail don't live there. Is all I'm
I
saying.
know, I know.
Be prepared for my heart to break.
That's going to be an interesting thing. It looks like he might be drinking a little. I don't know what's going on here, but he needs help. Maybe he's gotten a little obsessive over all of this. Like that's kind of
Mm.
how this reads to me.
He's tracking. Yeah. I'm also interested. It sounds, I mean, this is my impression of the overall trailer, I guess, but that the OGs are not sidelined, but not necessarily as central as we may have expected.
Yeah.
And that they're kind of there in an advisory, helpful capacity. Because I think that's sort of how they set it up. Obviously, in that scene we'll get to in a minute, where they're talking about where Dewey is kind of like talking to everyone about the rules and then doesn't really give us any rules. But then the idea that he's calling Sydney after there's been 3 attacks, that at least tells me that perhaps she doesn't come into the film until a little bit into it. Like unless we open with 3 attacks or something, I'm like that's a bit of a that's a number of attacks into the film runtime, I guess, before
I
we get
don't,
there.
I don't know. So the line delivery of the gun line makes me feel
Mm,
like he was prepared for that news. Like maybe she was informed that
mm,
there was 1 killing, and now this is call number 2 for Dewey. Like
maybe.
I feel like I get the vibe like they're all separate. They're not like super in touch with each other, but
Mm,
there is kind of like this framework of a connection between all of them where
You
You
think
know,
they got a group chat?
yeah,
OG Survivor group chat.
group chat, group phone call. But this feels to me like they had maybe a conversation before.
So far.
But I don't know. Like, again, we're watching a damn trailer. I mean, for all I know, these lines could be out of order in the conversation.
I
Or I
know.
could be missing the "Hey, how you doing" part.
Yeah, she may not even be in Washington. I've
That
created a
too.
whole career. She's running for Senate. For she is she's the representative for California. Diane Feinstein is finally retired. So,
I love how much you thought all this through.
mhm.
All right. So then we get Kyle Gallner, who I am a huge fan. I am a huge fan of this whole cast, but he is so underrated and so talented, and it makes me sad that he's in a frame with Ghostface by the car. Because
Maybe Ghostface is just giving him a haircut. You know, he's got the terrible. He's got wait. I'm not looking at the trailer right now, but he's mullet man, right? With the
I mean,
do we call that a mullet?
he's just got long hair. He's just got
Okay.
long hair. But
It does make me sad. I'm like but that does look like a fun little scary moment, and yeah.
I hope it winds up being a fun, scary moment, because if we can't have him in the whole movie, I at least want a really good kill scene.
Yeah, and actually, I think it was that shot, and then it sort of played out for us through the trailer. For me, is this visually is quite, I think, quite a distinctive look for this film in terms of color palettes and things, and it struck me as very Riverdale, in that sort of very deliberate, blue-hued color palettes, and quite beautifully shot. It would seem in some parts, which is I'm glad, because I have the issues with Scream 4 and its look.
I definitely get the point that you're making. I feel like it strikes that perfect balance where it's doing what you're saying and it's carving out its own, visual language. But at the same time, it's got a couple of camera tricks in it that are very Scream and immediately bring you right back to the original, which that's kind of what I was hoping for here.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, absolutely.
All right, we're at 123 now. What happens here? I think this is where we see Melissa Barrera for the first time.
I know who you are. I've been through this a lot.
Been through this a lot. You have. You have. And this is bringing me right back to Scream 4, where she's trying to have this conversation with Emma Roberts, and Emma Roberts don't need that conversation. I hope Melissa Barrera does.
Yeah, I think she may. I think she's going to need that conversation. I love Melissa Barrera. I think she was so excellent in The Heights. So I'm really excited to see her as, I guess they're positioning her as the new Sydney, final girl teaching final girl how to final. And I'm into it. And again, like, I think this is a hallmark of trailers, at least there's a hallmark of the series that Sydney just gets these lines where you're just like, yes, we get it. And she delivers it with such weight. But they always do isolate them with the trailers in really interesting ways. You're going to get hello, Sydney, but you're also going to get Sydney just like badassery all over the place. And I like that we got this multiple times in this trailer.
Yeah, just examining this frame a little, it looks like Melissa Barrera's character is walking into a hospital. And, she's got Jack Quaid with her. She doesn't seem especially alarmed. So it might go back to what we were saying before about the opening scene. If they are sisters, maybe she is not dead. And maybe that alarm reflects that. That alarm reflects that.
I mean, yes. Although I would say if she's not dead, she's certainly not well.
I know.
Given what we see in that trailer.
You would think, but she seems pretty relaxed here.
Yeah, and that is the boyfriend behind her, Mr. Quaid, right?
Yes, yet another Scream 5 cast member that I am a very, very big fan of.
Yeah, Jack Quaid of The Boys fame and Lower Decks vocal fame and many other things, but yes.
All right, so after we have this conversation,
which means that whoever this is going to keep coming.
We get the roll call. Yeah,
yes.
It looks like a bar party. Yeah, it's a bar. I see the pinball machines, but we get basically a little roll call of all the newer cast members here. And, basically with Sydney's line, it's implying that anyone could be behind the killings, and you should watch your back. I'm getting the feeling that it's none of these people.
Well, who are behind the mask, or I don't know. I love this scene because I feel like we're being introduced to the next generation.
Yeah,
it's giving me fountain discussion vibes from number one. I love all of these cast members. I particularly was excited to see Mikey. Mikey, is it Mikey Monroe? Mikey from Better Things.
Yeah.
Forgive me for the not being prepared.
Mikey Madison.
Mikey Madison, yes. From Better
Amber.
Things.
She's playing Amber. Here's a good thing to know because
yes.
Jenna Ortega's character thought she was texting Amber at the beginning.
So I was excited to see her. Yeah, and you know, Gooding Jr. It's an interesting little scene.
I'm starting to feel like they just cut around Jenna Ortega in some of these shots.
It is.
I feel like Jenna Ortega is in this bar, but we just don't see her.
Although, I suppose you can be under. How old do we think Jenna Ortega is supposed to be or is in this film? And like, is she of a legal drinking age? Well, they're all high school students, right? So they'd have to be at some sort of bar that allows.
Well, some of like when they do this little roll call, most of the shots look like they're in a bar setting, but the first one doesn't. The first one looks like it's probably at a house party.
Okay, yeah, this trailer is definitely
the shot of Jasmine Savoy Brown looks like it's in a house party.
There's a lot of cutting around here because later on in the trailer when the Sydney It's an Honor, it cuts back to Jenna Ortega's kitchen with Ghostface coming at when he says it's an honor kind of thing. So there's a lot of trickery at work here. Or just trailer editing, I guess. This
is why we love like nitpicking at all this stuff. You never know what you're going to find. The next shot, though, after the roll call, I think might be my favorite shot of the entire trailer. And it's with Ghostface shadow just like on the wall.
Like composing an orchestra. I
love it. I love it.
I love that. That is something that feels very these filmmakers. Like that feels quite out of sort of the realm of what I think Wes would have done. But I do love it, and it feels like it's from that same scene with Gellner earlier.
Yes, I'm very into that. Then I think we have Sydney that could be Sydney's hands opening the case to the gun. Then the moment with our first moment of Gail.
I know, not much Gail. And yeah, I'm sort of happy about the hair, but also sad about the hair.
Because you want the baby bangs?
I feel like fan service would be to give us a ridiculous haircut. And I feel like we expect it. You know, the first three films had just such iconically interesting hair for Gail and always different. But now with 4 and 5, we've gone sort of like, I don't know, panelist on The View, boring. I'm like, I want outrageous. It's got to be like iconically bad. And I felt that would have been a nice bit of fan service for us to just have some sort of weird streaks going on or some sort of bangs.
No, it would have like I might have gotten a chuckle out of it, but it would have taken me out of the movie because it wouldn't feel now enough. that hair is very appropriate. I'm glad they did not have baby bangs. The next shot, it looks like it's of Mason Gooding's character being attacked. So
he's on the Woodsboro team of some kind, right? Is that what?
I guess?
Yeah.
I'm just making assumptions now. It could be any sport. I don't know why I said football.
And then we get Mikey Madison's scream.
He gets stabbed in this. Like I'm going frame by frame.
Yeah, no, he doesn't get away unscathed, I would say, from that situation.
Then, Mikey Madison's scream is next.
And then
after that shot of Melissa Barrera that we saw the still of in the EW article.
Yes, and the sort of interesting camera angle. That is the house, right? That is Scream 1 climax house. That's where it sort of seems like they end up, no? Or
so I was looking at that. Like I know that house is in this trailer eventually. I don't know if this particular shot is it. Because when that image came out, I thought it was, and then I can't remember. I was doing this while I was in the air last night, and I was busy examining everything. Like something convinced me that it wasn't.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm of two minds. Someone can forensically do this, of course. Go to the Airbnb website for that house, which is now available to rent.
It's not that house.
Okay. We will say this. Woodsboro has a certain kind of home. And they all kind of look the same. Because there's another moment where I was like in the interior with Sydney, and I was like, "Is that when she goes through the door?" I was like, "That's the original house, right?" But
Well,
then I was like,
that's
"Or is that
yeah,
is
that's
that her
where
Scream? Is that her auntie's house from Scream 4?" And I was like, "I
no.
don't know."
So that's the other thing I did. After I determined that this wasn't Stu's house, I went back to Scream 4 to see if I could find that little red rose thing that's right above her head in this shot.
Oh right, yes,
And
okay, no.
I couldn't find it in anything, or at least anything that my mind immediately went to scrub to. But I don't
Hmm.
I think this is just like maybe her house. Unless anyone in the chat thinks otherwise, do let us know. All right. So after we get that, oh, this shot's a little dark. It's someone in a wheelchair in the hospital,
Yeah, I'm
and
like,
someone pulls a knife. Maybe that's
it
Jenna
is.
Ortega.
I mean, this person has little skinny arms, is all I'm saying. Like, if you look closely, that is a skinny armed person. Um,
Maybe they're just really messing with us, and Jenna Ortega is the new Sydney, and it's like one big misdirect.
I would enjoy that a lot, and I would say hats off to you, Paramount. Um, hello, JC and marketing team. You guys are doing a bang up job here.
I would enjoy that. All right, I think I have to play it here.
Rules to surviving.
Yeah. Yeah, they're talking about the rules now.
Mhm.
Where are they? Like, whose house is
I
this?
feel like they may be in that messy place wherever Dewey was earlier. That wood paneling gives me single divorcee. Um,
I think for Dewey's shot, maybe, but when it gets to the point where, oh, I see what shot you're talking about. I'm a little
oh,
further
I'm talking
ahead.
about Jack Quaid, but then
It's two different conversations.
it's yeah,
He's
they're
having a
doing
convo
this
with Jack
again to
Quaid
us.
in his place.
That is definitely Jack Quaid at his
Yeah.
divorce pad,
But if you get to the
and
next stuff with the bigger group, it looks like they're in a damn mansion.
they're back in, I think, Ortega's character, not Ortega. Oh my God, Barrera, Samantha Carpenter's house, maybe potentially. I'm scrolled and I see a risen knife with a bloody hand.
Okay, wait, where are you?
140.
Oh, I'm like way ahead if you're at 140.
Okay.
Oh no, I think our time codes are wrong.
Okay.
So, all right, I'm looking at Dewey and Jack having a conversation. Then we've got in broad daylight the bloody knife with
Yes.
the American flag behind it. Switches to another hand with a bloody hand with a bloody knife.
Mm,
So maybe that's our first reveal of the killer.
potentially. I don't know. I can't read into a bloody knife. Like,
That's like
there's gonna be a few of those.
all right, and then we've got Dewey with a gun, maybe like a hospital records room or something.
Hmm.
And then we get to the conversation that I was referring to before, where they look like they're sitting in a mighty fancy house.
Yes. And this is the rules, right? There are
Yeah.
rules to surviving, which is interesting because there's no like rules about reboots, or there was no sort of meta-ness in this, really. I mean, there's obviously some, I won't say there's no meta-ness, but there's no, but I feel like in the previous trailers we got, there are rules for surviving a sequel. This is the ending of a trilogy, and here we go, and this is like a reboot. And here we don't have the Randy stand-in, right?
I
At
mean,
least in the
this
trailer.
person has not revealed themselves, if there is one.
And we didn't get like a Heather Zara or anything like that.
Well, who are the two characters that are rumored to be related to her? I know it's Mason Gooding and someone else, and now I've forgotten who the
I
second
think it's
person was.
Jasmine. No, is it what's
Jasmine Savoy Brown's character?
potentially? I thought they were maybe siblings.
It is. You're right. It's the
Hmm.
two of them. Meeks Martin.
Oh.
Interesting.
Interesting then that he's like a football star.
I know.
Given
In this conversation too, I think we get our first look at Dylan Minnette, who we haven't seen the whole trailer.
Oh right, yes, Blondie.
Yes. All right, let's see what he says in this particular scene.
Swollen people related to the original killer.
Oh, this is a big deal. Let me get the whole line.
The attacks were all on people related to the original killers.
The attacks were all on people related to the original killers.
Which is fascinating. So we're looking at Loomis's and Stu descendants or extended family.
Maybe maybe it's all about turning the formula on its head. Like the folks that are related to the killers are the ones getting killed, and the person behind the killings winds up being related to the heroes.
Yes. Although we've had that last time. But 3 and 4 were that. But in a sense, okay, Director Donovan.
Yep.
Maybe that's a
I don't
point.
know. It could be right.
I mean, if I had that hair, I'd probably be covering it up too. No. That is an interesting concept. I think that they call that "No Time to Dying It," where where they where the villain is actually getting rid of other villains. But hopefully this one is easier to explain. But yeah, I'm very curious about what this means, because also, is it just the original killers or the original streak of killers? So could we have Mickey relatives here? I don't know.
I'm curious.
The attacks were all on people related to the original killers.
I don't know. I don't think they would have the word original in there.
No.
Without it being directly, pointing at Stu and Billy.
Yeah.
But like, when you think about it, because we also had the poster tagline, it's someone you know.
Yes, which I loved. It's always someone you know or something, right?
Someone you know. Who can you think of that would have that motivation, that is likely to still be alive? That there would be some value in this individual killing off people related to Billy and Stu. That's what I've been having a hard time with this morning.
Yes. Unless it is someone who is just trying to do something different, and like the fame, like the notoriety element, that's quite an interesting twist on, like, to get attention. Otherwise, there's like Sydney's dad, but I just don't think he'd be healthily up to it. I think he might be a little slower and may not be able to keep up with technology like doors, automated doors. Because like the Prescott cousins and auntie were all kind of removed.
Yeah.
As of last time.
So this is, I like the idea, and I don't want to get too overboard with this until I see it in the full film, but this gets me a little nervous about one of the original 3 being behind the mask, because they're really the only ones to me that logically could feel the need to do something like this.
Yeah, I just don't think they'd go there. I just think it would be such a ridiculous,
I hope not,
hairpin turn for their personalities. I mean, maybe Dewey, I guess, if I'm looking at the context of this trailer and who seems like the most damaged by things. And, he said the limp is back. And in the EW article, the limp is clearly back in the trailer, which I think he got rid of in number 4. And then, yeah, I think, I can just see a moment where he like limps and then stops limping, sort of the usual suspect style, and was like, yeah, actually that last stab wound gave me extra strength. Someone has Jordan Pax, it's a full flip, the killer is a relative. What if the killer is Kirby? I'm thinking like people who survived or potentially survived an original streak of killing.
And like the reveal is, actually there were 3 of them all along, kind of thing. Or she's just
potentially
out of that.
I don't know.
It's actually Kenny the cameraman's family. His family is very upset over the loss, so they're coming back for revenge.
Yes, that would be quite amazing. Or it's the grandchildren of Principal Himbry, sort of like very upset.
Everything's on the table right now. All right, so we're having this conversation. We get that. We're into like the quick cutting shots of the trailer.
Okay, sure.
What is this line here, actually?
Whatever his link is to our past, pull us all back here.
Whatever his link is to our past, he pulled us all back here.
I mean, there is a little bit of me that's a little concerned about it all comes back to Stu's house. And
Don't
that's what it seems.
Don't say
Don't
it.
say
Don't
it.
go down that path again.
This may, I don't want to damage you emotionally, Perry, but you know, I saw it. We recently both watched Scream on the big screen again, and the man was killed with the television on his head. But sillier things have happened.
I'm still very, very upset by the idea. Joel, you missed this, but I had the little meltdown on Merry Hour when Matt brought this up. I feel like I'm still very, very upset by the potential that Stu is not dead and he could come back. There's a small piece of me that can't deny what a lot of people are theorizing, especially after seeing this trailer, though. So I think I'm trying to like keep myself a little more open-minded. But I mean, if I'm being honest with you, I still think that's not an option. And I think it's a bad option. I'm very afraid of that ruining the third act of the original Scream movie that I love so much, and especially that specific set piece where Stu dies. He dies.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. If you're watching and you've done that, filmmakers, it's time to call for reshoots because the fan base will not be happy. Well, I mean, maybe some will, because I will say, undeniably, rewatching Scream 2 nights ago, I was like, there was a part of me that was like, Matthew Lillard's performance is out of this world good. Like, it is so phenomenal. Skeet's performance is wonderful, but very over the top. And he's like staring in that police station. But that performance almost gets me over the line of I know I'd still be very upset.
Yeah, I don't think I can handle it. All right,
Yeah.
so we're at the hospital quick shots.
Mm-hmm.
Pull us all back here.
All right, then we get Judy Hicks. She's having a very
Yes.
stressful car ride. What's going on here?
She's racing somewhere.
Or did someone cut her brakes? Because she's screaming. Why would she scream while she's speeding somewhere?
Oh, is that what you were thinking? I was
Yeah.
like, she's like, her little boyfriend Dewey is in trouble, and she is racing and screaming because she is quite an emotional being.
She's driving very fast in a school zone too, because that second drive has kids with backpacks and it looks like a scooter.
She has her siren though. I think the siren's on, right?
I think so.
No, you're right. It could be. I like the concept of her having her brakes cut. This makes me a terrible person, but I was like, that's an original sort of style.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen anything quite like that here.
No. I would say in one of those quick cuts, it looks like Amber is running in a hospital.
Yes. That's definitely what that is. And then the next shot is back to Kyle Gallner, and there is like blood spewing.
Yeah, and that car headlights are on. I just have to say this, that, you know, I don't know. Just call me out for being a sexist here or something, but Neve Campbell looks amazing. Like, I'm like, how does one do that? She looks like the Paul Rudd of sort of Canadian women. She just looks, I don't know, she's whatever her routine is, I want to know, because I think she can do this for 10 more years, 50 more years, actually.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
So wait, we should probably listen to this line here.
Mm-hmm.
I won't sleep until he's in the ground.
All right. And then that's when we get to Stu's. All right, wait, so I'm at 204 right now. I'm jumping back to that shot of Melissa Barrera because I want to see if that's the same exact house.
Okay.
I mean, it's definitely the same. It's the same coloring. I've gotten very obsessed with this now.
We need some HGTV forensic sort of analysis.
I wish I had screen grabbed it. I mean, it does look kind of the same. It does look kind of.
I think it's the house. I'm gonna say, putting all my chips on that one.
I think these two shots are definitely of the same house. So I guess both shots are Stu's house.
We do get Ghostface tussling with Dewey very shortly after in what appears to be the hospital.
Yeah, that's definitely yeah, that
feels like the hospital foyer, corridor,
right? Right next to the utilities closet. It's the hospital. It looks like a children's ward too. There's a poster of a kid with a doctor, and there's like a whole bookcase of toys or showcase of toys behind them. That's
Very
dark.
interesting.
Then I'm assuming this shot is Melissa Barrera maybe in Stu's house.
Yeah, potentially.
Man, this is all
Then we
making
get
me feel like
your ghost
she's
face in front
related
of
to
the.
Billy or Stu in some way.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, maybe she lives there. Maybe that's the. I'm sorry, I'm so stupid. I'm like, she lives in Stu's house, right? Because she's
Well,
related.
maybe that's why it looks different too.
Would you?
They-
Though
They've
would
they've
if you were
remodeled a little.
like cleaned out all the blood? I feel like would you live there?
I mean, someone has to live there eventually. I'm sure it's not very expensive after that happened.
She got her
Maybe that
family
is
got a
the
great
hero.
deal.
Maybe she does live there, and it's not a direct relation type thing, which I think I wouldn't really mind that. But I guess there needs to be more purpose behind her involvement here than
You
just
just happen to
her
live in the same
family
house.
moved into like Sue's house. It's really haunted, everyone. All right, then we have another shot of Ghostface with a knife in front of the car, which is likely the Kyle Gallner scene. We have Jack Quaid being attacked. This shot looks very suspect. This feels very Billy to me. I'm just very much reading too far into that, but
You're like, he's going to be stabbed in a way that you can't see him being stabbed, because that is the Scream rule is you need to see the knife go in, and also you need to see the knife go in sort of this area. otherwise it's a plant.
yeah. The next shot has me very concerned. It is of a very, very upset Gail, and all over her face, I see Dewey is dead.
This was the shot that made me go. But again, I feel like they're fucking with us. Like, I think I feel like, well, yeah, because
this looks like a very particular type of grief, though.
This does look like yes, but it could be. We've seen Dewey on a stretcher. We don't know what has actually happened. I'm not saying we've seen him on a stretcher in this trailer. That wasn't in the trailer. Don't go and scrub it for that. But we've seen him on a stretcher in the past with people not exactly knowing whether he lived or died. This could be that she looks like she's being held back at a sort of like police line, do not cross or press, whatever it is. I will say I was glad to see it, because I feel like we need, Scream movies need a good Gale scream moment. We didn't really get that in this trailer. This was as close, but no, I'm right with you there. This shot disturbed me.
Yeah, it's upsetting. After that shot, we get Dewey and a gun. Back to the Kyle Gallner kill, which looks especially vicious. Melissa Barrera with a knife swinging at someone who looks unmasked and looks like the top of the head might be Jack Quaid, if I am to make a guess right now.
We have solved this mystery. Jack Quaid is a relative of Stu, because he looks like Stu a little bit, and he's upset with Samantha Carpenter because she moved into the wrong house. It's a really good plot. I think they really thought this one out.
The shot after this is pretty vicious too. It's Ghostface stomping someone, and that is 100% Jenna Ortega, because that plant picture was in the background of the opening scene.
That is her. He's breaking her leg or something,
right?
They
cut right to her face. They're not trying to hide this, but that's vicious.
And that was the thing that made me say, that was the moment where I went, okay, Ghostface is brutal. They're going brutal here. This is terrifying. And then we get the fire.
Someone is legit burning alive, and I think that's in front of Sydney. Is that Sydney appearing in the camera?
I think that is definitely Sydney's hair and leather jacket that we're seeing there.
I mean, that's a lot of hair in that fire. I hope that's not Gail.
No, fuck. So could you imagine if she went out like that? They couldn't.
I don't know, because I started that's really the only semi-identifiable feature that can at least
do you think there's
down.
Hair in there? I was like, or is that a horse? Is this ghost? No, I don't think.
There's hair.
Yeah, no, and also that is
see hair.
I don't want to look at this,
think
because I see also
visual effects.
arm. I see arm, bare arm.
There's
like someone's wearing a t-shirt and
No,
therefore
they're wearing a jacket. I could see the sleeve.
no, I mean oh, you mean in
In the
the
fire.
oh yes,
The
okay,
person in the
well,
fire.
okay, yes. Let's. I don't. This actually. This has turned off. This fun activity, Perry, has turned quite traumatic. Now I'm like, we've killed Dewey. We have Gale burning alive in what appears to be a kitchen. It actually appears. I don't know. I can't do the
It could be
forensics.
Mikey Madison's character too, because she's wearing like a black denim jacket earlier on, and that's kind of what the sleeve looks like.
I feel also like this kitchen looks like the stew kitchen potentially.
Never mind, because Mikey Madison's in the next shot wearing something different, so I don't think it's her.
Okay. I think we have a picture of Jasmine.
I can't wait to watch the movie and then rewatch this video and just admire, like, just totally love how stupid I sound right now. Like, everything I say is going to be wrong.
I'm seeing this shot of Jasmine fighting off Ghostface, who has a knife going towards her.
Yes, I see that.
Sydney entering Stu's.
This is like, that is 100% Stu's house.
Yes. She has that sort of like, I can't believe I'm here.
Like, the interior is so easily identifiable to me. It's the exterior that's still, like, something about it still throwing me off.
And this is, then we get that iconic conversation, right? Or, hello, Sydney, it's an honor.
Yeah, here, wait.
Should we play that?
Yeah.
It's an honor.
Well, I jumped ahead a little. Here, I'll give you guys a clean listen. Now you're gonna hear screaming. There.
It's an honor.
It's an honor. Who would have the need to say that to her?
I think there are a number of paths you could go down. There's fanboy, sort of serial killer obsessive sort of thing, where they could sort of literally admire her as a celebrity of this sort of kind of thing, which she is. Then again, there are ways in which that line could play into the relative of Stu and Billy sort of situation, particularly, or tethering it to the it's someone related to the original. The people related to the original killers are being killed. Therefore, they're aligned, supposedly, I guess, with Sydney's cause in some ways. So therefore, they've been like her avenging angel. So maybe that's the thing there.
That was what I leaned towards most of all, is that this is someone who really did admire the fact or was like grateful that she killed the two of them. And maybe that's what's driving this whole thing forward. I'm also trying to read a little more into the fact that they called this Scream and not Scream 5. Like there's like maybe there's some sort of, you know, like a story mirroring that could be going on here between the two films that make them both worthy of that title. You know what I mean? And trying to look at that for clues.
Yes, it's interesting because it's in some ways appearing. Well, you got Marley Shelton, but there is an element of retconning without retconning, right? Or at least choosing to focus where the story is.
Don't say
in
the
terms
R
of
word.
No, I don't. They're not retconning anything, but I mean, like, there's definitely a vibe here of one. Like, one is the thing we're dealing with primarily. One is the text. And I think if you're looking at that as that mirror, it's that is an interesting concept. But I do think there is something about, I think there's going to be something complicated in the emotional stakes because it is someone doing something on behalf of our original, not on behalf of, but that ties to their, that is trying to be on behalf of or positive towards our original trio. So I think it'll be interesting stakes.
I feel like my face probably just looked really stressed because I keep trying to think of who the killer is, and like so many of the most logical answers now feel like people that should be dead. And it's stressing,
Yeah.
it's stressing me out. Like I could make the strong, like based on this trailer at least, I can make stronger cases for someone like a Stu or a Randy versus who I think it should be.
Right. Um, maybe it's Heather Matazzaro. Again.
Now I'm like bringing myself back to her very, very brief Scream 3 appearance and
Mhm.
trying to read into like her personality, and it doesn't fit. But
No, it doesn't. It doesn't seem to fit.
oh
Um,
man, we talked for 50 minutes about a 2-minute trailer. 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
that is true, and I'm sure people were deliriously entertained by
I
this
hope so.
analysis of what's happening.
This was seriously just like nearly an hour of the two of us geeking out over something that we absolutely adore. And I'm assuming all the people who are still with us feel the same way about the franchise. So I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Don't be mad at us when all of our earliest theories wind up being very, very wrong. I'm truly hoping that everything that I predicted based on what I saw in this trailer winds up being wrong. I want to be surprised.
Yes,
And I've said this time
100%.
and time again, Radio Silence is a team I very much believe in. I think that they respect this franchise, and I can't wait to see what they do with it.
Yeah, that's my main takeaway. Forget all the analysis and the shot-for-shot sort of theorizing. This trailer has me pumped.
All righty. I think it's time to say goodbye, but we'll be back soon with more episodes. Now it feels like things are ramping up. We're gonna have a lot to cover.
I'm excited. And Perri, as always, it's an honor to do this with you.
Maybe,
Cheese.
maybe that's our Scream 2022 outro. You say that to me, I say that to you, and that's our nod.
Goodbye, Perri. It's an honor.
Goodbye, Joel. It's an honor. And now I